The second key to a winning team is common goal. Common goal is very important because we define a team oftentimes as a group of people working together to accomplish a common goal. Now, if this common goal is not known, if this common goal is not communicated, then it becomes difficult for the team to align their efforts towards achieving it. The common goal is oftentimes known as the vision of the company. The vision of the company needs to be strong, it needs to be encouraging, and most importantly, it must be communicated. Within your organizations, you may notice that the vision is written on a board on the wall. You may also notice that the vision is in your employees' handbook. However, it is being currently communicated. Please ensure that you are familiar with the vision of the company as well as any person who may be joining or currently working on your team. You see, that vision is what causes your team members to become so engaged with your program, with what it is that you do, that they are enrolled and inspired into the activities and the day to day running of the business. This vision that is articulated to them causes them to align themselves with where the company is going. They can align themselves with that strong, compelling vision, and therefore their actions will be inspired by ensuring that whatever they do leads the company closer to that destination. Let's use an example. An example would be the company's vision of Guyana's abundance through business re-education. When our team members are working with different clients, that is something that must be kept at the front of our minds. It must be kept at the front of our minds so that we know that we need to share freely with our clients, so that we know that any information, any skill, any knowledge that we get should be transferred to our clients. So when we attend trainings, what do? We should ensure that we communicate this information to our team members and to any person that we are currently serving in an appropriate format. Our vision enrolls and inspires the team. It means that because we have aligned ourselves to the vision, because we feel strongly about the vision and what the company is doing, our efforts are therefore catered to ensuring that the company achieves that vision. If the people in your organization, and if you don't know what the vision of your organization is, it becomes very difficult for you to work together on a common goal. Each person will then be working on their own goals, their own things that they want to achieve. But the vision is bigger than any one individual. And so communicating that vision will help your team members to understand what it is that the company is doing, why it is that the company is doing it, and how they can play a role in ensuring that it becomes a reality. So just by articulating that vision very clearly to the team members, and just by knowing the vision in your heart, you're also going to be able to align yourself much better with the company, and your team will be able to align their efforts towards achieving that vision. Everybody's clear on where the company is going, and so the company gets there faster. So please ensure in your organization that the vision is in a place that allows it to be very visible to all who you come into contact with, and most importantly, that you are familiar with where your company is going. The third key to a winning team is rules of the game. Now, rules of the game informs the company's culture. It tells your team members what is accepted and what is not. It is those norms and standards we set. It is those norms and standards that makes up what the company does, and also guides the operations and the behavior of its team members. As you raise the standards in your company, some people just won't come with you. The tighter you try to make the system and the tighter you try to keep the standards, the higher you set them, the more likely you will lose people because some people just won't come along. The lower the standards, the more likely you are to attract the kind of people that you should not be attracting. So if your standards are very low and the way in which you communicate, the way in which you lead, the way in which you work together are not at a level that would attract the right kind of people, then you will be attracting the wrong kind of people to your business and to your company. So, do you have a loose or tight culture? In the loose culture, the it's focused mostly on the people and the content, where the people can determine whatever they want to do, how they want to do it, and when they'd like to get it done. A loose culture allows for persons to play outside the lines. However, if you have a tight culture, then you'll have rules and everything has to be done within the lines or the boundaries that are set. So the context becomes very important in carrying out any activities. Let's consider this example. If you're familiar with cricket, then you would know that if a ball is hit over the boundary and into the stand, then it automatically becomes a six. If you were to observe on the team, on the field, if you were to observe on the field one day, a fielder, after the batsman has bat a ball that is heading to the stand, decides that he is going to go after that ball. He does all kinds of aerobics just to get into the stand. And once he was there, he was able to catch the ball. What would you think about that fielder? Exactly. You would have some concerns about his behavior and whether or not he understands what the rules are. Because the rules clearly state that once the ball goes into the stand over the boundary, then that automatically becomes a six. Any person who is not aware of the rules of the game will not know what the boundaries are, what the scope is for them to become innovative, inventive, what are some of the opportunities available to them, what are some of the risks that they can take, what the rules of the company is, which will allow them to make the best possible decisions. If the culture is loose, then people will just focus on content and they will not really be too concerned with context because that is not as important as opposed to when there is a tight culture. So, what kind of culture exists within your company as it relates to rules? How well do you communicate those rules and how familiar are your team members with acting it out? If you are a team member and not necessarily someone who has to do the communicating of the rules, then how familiar are you with the rules of the company? How well do you act within those boundaries, within those standards? How well are you functioning according to the culture of your company? Do you contribute positively to that culture, whether it is a tight, rule driven culture or a loose, people guided culture? Are you shaping the culture you would like to have within your organization? Next, action plan. Now, the action plan is very important because unless we know what that is, we are not going to be able to focus our attention on a targeted amount of results. The action plan simply says who does what by when. After every meeting, interaction, discussion, assignment of tasks, responsibilities, there should be a clear outline of who does what by when. Does your company have a clear action plan as it relates to what are the specific roles and responsibilities of team members in different parts of the organization? Are team members very clear on what they're required and expected to do? How would you say you communicate this action plan? Considering the action plan means that you need to think about whether their job descriptions clearly expressing what is expected of each team member. We call these positional contracts. Positional contracts detail not only the responsibility of the team member, but also their KPIs, what the key performance indicators will be, their attitude that should, the attitude that we set, the attitude that is expected once they are on the team, as well as what would be some of the required results based on the value that they add to the team. Do you have your systems documented? Are their standard SOPs, standard up reset? Are there standard operation procedures documented for your different operations? And is this communicated to your team members? Do you have a business plan in place for the business, for the company? Are you sure of where the company is going and what are some of the key strategic steps that needs to be taken next in order for the company to remain competitive? If you are not in a position to make these decisions, can you look around in your company to see that these things are there? Because having a clear action plan will certainly help team members be ready to tackle the challenges that may come their way as they are clear on their roles as well as on the roles of others. Next, support risk taking. Is the company that you're with or the company that you own supportive of risk taking? Does it encourage employees to become innovative and to think outside of the box? How do you usually react when someone takes a risk? Generally, many companies will keep this to a certain level. But the more we involve our team members and encourage them to think outside of the box and live outside of their comfort zone, the more breakthroughs we will have. Because breakthrough follows a breakdown, a break apart, a break with, and a break up. The more you are trying new things and stretching outside of your comfort zone, the more likely you're going to get a breakthrough. If you're doing nothing different, then the possibility of you growing will also be stagnated. Let's look at the Kaizen principle, for example. The Kaizen principle tells us that we should, first of all, keep growing. You see, Kaizen is Japanese for constant and never ending improvement. If we are not taking any risk in our business, if we are not challenging our team members to stretch outside of their comfort zone, then we will not be able to grow as quickly as we can. What we need to consistently be doing is growing as a team, getting to a place where we have mastered the skill, mastered the task, mastered that level of the business, and look for new opportunities to grow again. After that growth, we will plateau. And this continues throughout the life of the business. Constant and never ending improvement is what the aim should be. Always be looking for opportunities to grow the business, to improve yourself, and also to continue to become a contributing person. To grow yourself and to grow the business. And finally, 100% involvement and inclusion. How often does team members get engaged and involved in different team building activities, in decision making activities, in meetings that keep them informed of the direction of the company? How often are team members given the necessary information so that they can combine their efforts that will allow synergy to take place. We said that will allow synergy to take place. You see, with synergy, the more information, the more included and involved team members feel, the more you're going to have 1 plus 1 being equal to anything that you want it to be. When my team members feel like they have a vested interest in the company because the information is provided, because you make them feel as though they belong, and when you feel like this is a company that you feel involved and included in, you're going to put your best efforts forward. And so synergy will take place. I wish you all the best in making your company, in making your business operate at a place of synergy. Now, we are done with today's session, but before I leave you, I'd like to encourage you to get involved in an activity that improves communication within your team. And we call it a ritual, not a ritual, a ritual. Our ritual is important because we recognize that even though people may leave your team, the team continues to function, the team will have to stick together because the work still has to be done and there may be key people on the team who remain. A ritual helps you to understand what's going on. We said this ritual helps you to understand what's going on with your team members, what's going on within the team, and everyone gets an opportunity to express what is on their minds. This is good for communication as well as inclusion because team members now become aware of some of the challenges as well as the victories that are being experienced by each other. They can, in that environment, provide support. They can, in that environment, provide encouragement. And they can, in that environment, ask for assistance. The ritual I wish to introduce you to today is called the Wiffle. Now, the Wiffle is an activity where all team members can come together in a circle. They can do this sitting, or depending on how long your Wiffle will be, they can do so standing. Whilst conducting the Wiffle or participating in the Wiffle, there should be no crossed arms or legs. Persons are encouraged to be present and in the moment. Therefore, they are asked to get rid of all devices such as cell phones that may cause distraction, computers that may have them looking at it, as well as any cross-talking that may be taking place. As they speak, they're simply just saying whatever it is that they would like to express. Anything that they wish to share with the team, anything that they wish to communicate to the team, they're free to do so within their expressions. What happens is that the first person to speak begins by saying, "What I feel like expressing is," give their expression, and when they would have completed, they'll then say, "And that's what I feel like expressing." Until a person says, "And that's what I feel like expressing," no one has the right to speak. Once they would have said, "And that's what I feel like expressing," the person to their left or right, depend on the direction that the team is going in, will start by saying, "Thank you," using the person's name. And the person who spoke the first time will now say, "And," using their colleague's name, "what do you feel like expressing?" Now this continues until everyone on the team has had an opportunity to express what they would like to express. It begins with the first person saying what I feel like expressing is, give their expression, and then closing by saying, "And that's what I feel like expressing." This in turn is responded to by the person to their right or left, depending on the direction that you're going in, who After being asked, and what do you feel like expressing, says, what I feel like expressing is, give their expression, and close by saying, and that's what I feel like expressing. The person to their right or left, depending on the direction you're going in, will then say, thank you. They will then ask the person, and what do you feel like expressing? That person begins with, and what I feel like expressing is. And that continues until we get back to the first person. Reset. And that continues until the last person has expressed what they'd like to say. Now, the person who began the wiffle now has the opportunity to go around the room to ask for burn-ins. Now, burn-ins are a person's expression that comes as a direct result of something that they heard in the wiffle. So let's say that I, in expressing what I feel, said, what I feel like expressing is that it would be good if I had some more support on this project that I'm working on. I'm finding it very difficult to complete all of my tasks on time as I keep being interrupted, and I have a lot of other tasks as taking my attention. And that's what I feel like expressing. Now, if I had said that in my wiffle, no one gets an opportunity there to respond or to offer support, because no one else gets the opportunity to speak until it's their turn, and they may already have their own expressions. So the first person that spoke now gets to ask the team, do you have any burn-ins? And what you're basically asking them, reset. Now the first person who spoke now gets the opportunity to ask the team, do you have any burning desire to comment on anyone else's wiffle? As that goes around as in the circle a second time, team members have opportunity to comment on what any person said during the wiffle. If someone wants to comment on something that I said, or if someone wants to comment on what I've said, they can do that expression very freely by saying, Sonia, I would like to let you know that I am available and I would be able to give some of my time to help you complete your project. So they just freely speak whatever it is that they would like to say in reference to another person's wiffle. The wiffle worked very effectively because what happens is that if one person expresses something that upsets another person whose turn may not come immediately or is longer down the line, they are being given an opportunity to really think about what the person said, assess themselves, and also offer a response. They can use their wiffle to offer a response, or they can wait until the time of burn-ins to offer a response. Either ways, there is no cross-talking, and this causes every person to feel secure in being able to express what's on their minds. This is a good way to increase the communication flow within your company and to understand what the values as well as the experience and the skills of your team members are. Those things that are below the surface in their identity, those things that may be impacting their environment, impacting their reset. Those things that may be impacting their results because it exists within their environment, all kinds of information can be brought to the fore in this environment. So I would encourage you to take your team members through the wiffle. Please feel free to share this with them so that you can work together as a stronger team, because together everyone achieves more. Reset. Balaam, please take out pass to the person on your left. Thank you. Change the video before that comes up. Now to finish up, as I said, I would like to give you an opportunity to take this information into your environment, into your organizations, stop. Just stop the video at together everyone achieves more. When I said that, stop the video there. Bye. Thank you. It was a pleasure working with you. Thank you for your encouragement and support on this project. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavor as well, Ram and team.